I'm in this connection that really has blown my mind. uh, and it feels very divine, very, uh, yeah, very a gift from spirit. Uh, and it's still come with its own challenges of being an interaction with someone and also having to grow and be you. And so there have been times where, like in the past, I've really wanted to fix, and it's been codependent. And so, it's like, let me do this for you, and as long as I'm doing something for you, you'll want me and you'll be here and you'll love me. And she's not like that at all. She's like, I don't want you to do anything for me. I want to do it. And me having to say, okay, I can't I can't do this. I have to let her be and let her experience and let her figure her things out. And that doesn't change who I am to her or how she feels about me. And that's been really comforting for my spirit.
Yeah. So I'm hearing you say that um, you're with somebody who is actually valuing you for who you are versus what you can do for them. And
Absolutely.
and so you're like, oh, okay, this is different.
Yes.
But okay, but it sounds to me like you're letting that in. You're letting that be. You're letting yourself be loved. Being are you? Do you feel like is she taking care of you?
I've had to I've had to be more vulnerable in saying what I need. And that's been the biggest thing for me. Just scary is actually saying and rather allowing, I guess, allowing someone else to actually do that for you rather than I'm not gonna say anything, I'll just do it myself. I'll just, figure it out or try to comfort myself, but saying no, hey, I need this right now. I'm feeling this way. Um, and it's been it's been stressful, but in the times that I've done it, it's been received and given.
Wow, that's so beautiful. I'm
Yeah.
really happy for you both. So tell me, um, this doesn't sound like a problem. It sounds like something that you're navigating, right? Like this is a new level of relationship. This is a new kind of relationship. Do you want to talk a little bit more about this connection that you feel? Because you said that it's divine and it's blowing your mind, and I can relate to that feeling. But I want to hear from you. Um, what is that? What's just describe that for me.
It was very simple as far as the flow and effortless, easy and effortless, and was never an intention of I want to be with this person or I want this person. It was just hey, we're having conversations. I'm getting my hair done, so it's just it's yeah, just getting this service. And typically I would be very quiet in new spaces. I'm very quiet and just observing, taking everything in, but found myself just talking, joking, being silly, and I'm like, whoa, like that that's not me in a new setting or in a different place, or with a new person. I It takes a while, but yeah, I was just joking, and she's joking back, and it's like, well, the group is going out. Yeah, we could go out, and so hanging out and dancing, having fun, and it was like this is I want more of this. Like I want more of these conversations, and they were always just next level as far as mindsets and spirituality and meditation, clean eating, things like that. And yeah, someone that just take care of themselves in the same way that I do take care of myself, and still noting where there's some opposites. So it's not like we're exactly alike.
I should hope not. You know what?
Right.
You wouldn't be attracted to each other if you were exactly alike. There needs to be there
Yeah,
needs to be some difference. There needs to be some tension there. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
the crazy thing about it is that all of this happened when I was in the process of moving out of state. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so that happened, but the connection continued to build, even being two different sides of the country.
Yeah.
And yeah, and the friendship is really a true friendship at the core. And it's like I didn't want to feel everything that I started to feel. Uh, really at that time, just scared. Like, no, wait, I'm not looking for anybody. I'm not looking for anything. Uh, but I couldn't resist it. Couldn't resist it.
Yeah.
And yeah, and really, it's like a no matter what happens, this is someone that I I consider a friend. Um, I consider really like family, as in I want the best for you, and I'm always looking for the best for you, and selfless. It's selfless on both ends.
Hmm. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, okay, so now you're long distance.
Mhm.
You have this you have a romantic connection that has a really strong foundation of friendship.
Yes.
The relationship is pushing you to, like I said, like a new, it's like a higher level of relationship and connection. So isn't it so amazing when these things happen? It's like, such a gift. Yes. um so uh so where does it stand? I mean, are you exclusively dating? Are you more friends with a special connection? Is it explicitly romantic? Like, what's the status?
Yes, that I'm glad you said that. It's more friends with a special connection,
Yeah.
and it's not exclusive, um, but not reckless, if if that makes sense. Um, whereas she wasn't really interested in dating or getting into a relationship, and I wasn't either. Uh, But I'm the type where if I connect with someone on a deeper level, then that's it for me. I don't have the energy to distribute to others. So
I'm the same way.
yeah,
I mean, bless
so
people who can, but I'm like, I don't have it in me. I'm pretty single minded that way as well. Yeah.
hmm
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So we don't have to be exclusive, but I'm not going to be doing anything more myself. And she's just in the process of healing and focused on her growth and herself right now. And she's got another friend that she's connected with, and we've had conversations, and that's one thing that I really appreciate is the honesty. And it's been something that in the past I've even just like, hey, we're not exclusive, but I don't like this and I can't handle it. But it's just allowing it to be what it is. And so um I'm aware that our connection is unique and is special. And so while she's prioritizing herself and even communicating with someone else, it's I don't feel like I'm lacking or I'm missing anything.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And just where I am in my life right now, I feel very content.
Okay. Okay. So how long has this how long ago did you meet? How long has this been going on?
Let's see. We met in 2022. The connection of, oh wow, like you're someone, was 23.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I, yeah, feels like longer.
Yeah. Okay, so it's been about a year, right? Since it turned from more than wow, this is a great friend to this is somebody who's more than a friend.
Right.
Um and what's your okay, so taking a step back from her for a moment, um I know you said you weren't looking for a relationship at the time. So
Mhm.
are you sort of content with things being as they are? Does it feel like it's a status quo that works for you right now? Have you talked about the future? Have you given any thought, yourself to what kind of relationship you want in the future?
Yeah, when let's see, it was early, either early 2023, I believe, around maybe January or so, January or February. I did this meditation and an intention and a prayer, and it was, writing down what I wanted in a person, in a spouse and a wife. And I did the ritual and let it go, and that was it. Didn't think twice about it. And after some time, this came, and I was like, whoa, wait, like seriously. uh, but there was also this where I've spoken that certain things would take place in my life prior to me, and I've been married. I'm divorced,
Okay.
but uh, there were things that I said would take place prior to me uh, getting married, and I feel like this is like my second chance
Mm,
of doing what I said and establishing that, so that way when that time comes, I am whole and we can really create or co-create. And I feel like where I am right now is in the process of those things lining. I'm in alignment, and I'm open to, if this is it, then what do I have to worry about? This is it. And if it's not, I'm pretty damn close and it's gonna be amazing. And so I can appreciate and respect this for what it is and receive all that I'm supposed to with this
yeah.
and continue. Yeah.
So, so so if things stayed sort of status quo as they are right now, um, I mean, I know maybe you don't have an answer to this right now, but um, I mean, I guess maybe let me ask you a different question,
Yeah.
because this all sounds like you have a lot of clarity and that, like you said, you're in alignment and things are unfolding. You see her as somebody who's really possessing the qualities, and you're able to co-create the kind of relationship that you envision, that you wrote down. One of the really beautiful things about having, you had a marriage and the marriage didn't work out, but one of the really beautiful things about having past relationships that don't work out is that it gives us so much information about, like, okay, well, here's what I loved,
Hmm.
right? Here's what I know that I want to have again in a partnership. And here's what I know I don't want to have again. And here are the parts that I know didn't work. And so it sounds like you've done a good job of really reflecting on that and getting clear on what that what that ideal relationship looks like for you going forward. So I'm hearing you say that so far you're feeling like things are really aligned. But even if she's not the one, she's not your, your future wife, you're still grateful for the connection. You're grateful for the experience of this relationship, and it shows you that you're on the right path.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. so, so that's amazing. I mean, I wish I had this conversation more often with people, because I feel like a lot of times when people are coming to me, they're, I mean, sometimes people are in a place where they're like, hey, I met someone and it's great. And like, but there's something they want to talk about. So sounds like you're in that place. You've met someone. It's great. It's expanding you. It's in alignment with the vision that you had for yourself. So what is there something that isn't working? Is there a question that you have? Is there a concern that you have? Is there a challenge that you're facing? What's the T, Tyler?
I I would say the T is part of it can be I can get impatient. I can definitely want my way, and I'll get in my own way for sure with just wanting to gas pedal ahead, and yeah, just, I want to move on my
Okay.
time.
All right. So maybe you're not quite so patient in the, okay, it's all unfolding, it's in alignment. You're like, but also I want us to be together now. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you want the two of you to be together now, and what does that look like? Does that look like you exclusively dating? Does that look, because like you said, now you live on different sides of the country. How much is that a factor? Like, are you, like I always ask this question, like, if I had a magic wand and I'm just gonna wave it and I'm gonna just give you whatever wish you want here, regarding this relationship, what does that look like? What does Tyler want?
Yeah. I like that, the magic wand. That that would be I'm going to encompass everything with that. That would be really the relationship and the connection, and being able to live, and it wouldn't even be a there or here. It would be somewhere like I don't want to say remote, but just like island or yeah, maybe another country or so, and being able to live being together exclusively, but being able to live more carefree, away from hustle and stress. It would be, meditating and eating, fruits and vegetables straight from the ground, you know, walks in nature, and spreading love through our love and connection.
Wow. Well, I mean, that sounds amazing, and I think it sounds like, there are elements of that are attainable even if you aren't able to move to an island, right, in another country. So, okay, so that's the magic wand scenario, and what's the? I guess if I were talking to her, I mean, you called her a friend, so you wouldn't call her a girlfriend, you wouldn't call her a partner, or would
I
you?
would I would call her partner.
You call her partner. Okay. So if I were talking to your partner right now, and I said, if I asked her, so are you and Tyler on the same page about your relationship and the future and where you're heading? What do you think she would say? What do you think she would tell me?
I I think she would say jumping ahead. That's that sounds very attainable and doable. Uh, I feel like in the now, she would be like, I'm I'm trying to figure out what I want.
Right. So what she wants for herself, just generally in her life, or what she wants for herself in terms of a relationship, or both.
Both.
Both. Okay. Okay. So, so you know that you want to be monogamous. You know that you want to get married. Um, and I guess does she not have that clarity?
I
Hi, Tyler.
Hey Franny,
How are you?
I'm doing well. Doing
Okay.
well. Happy to be here for sure.
Oh, well, I'm happy to have you here, and I appreciate you being here. So, let's dive in. Let's hopefully this is going to be a good, productive experience for you, and you're gonna leave this conversation with a little bit more clarity than you have at this exact moment. um,
Yeah.
so, do you want to just, tell me, and also just, for those who are listening, so they can just know what did you want to talk to me about today? What's going on in your love life?
Yeah, I've had some experiences where I feel like majority of my life has been battling self-esteem. And that showed up in relationships, especially love life with overcompensation, settling, and things like that. And I've grown a lot, and I've started to open myself up to receiving more than I had in the past, and receiving what I'm given. And so I'm looking forward to this conversation, just opening that up even more.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on
Thank
the up level. No, seriously, because I think self-esteem is something that everyone struggles with to some extent, and you have the wisdom to see how it was impacting your relationship. So the fact that you've grown in that area and you're making progress is really a big deal. Um, so I definitely want to applaud you for that. So do you want to give a little snapshot of where you are right now, and kind of, you know, what's coming up for you right now? Like, are you at a place where you are maybe seeing some of the things that you've settled for in the past and you're reacting differently, or are you just letting more in and now you're kind of freaking out like, oh wow, this is happening and I'm really being seen, and that's scary, or something else?
a little bit of both,
Okay.
actually, or maybe a lot of both. Uh, it's been a few times where I've reflected on, like, in the past I would have reacted like this, or I would have been, and I guess to just stop from overgeneralizing, I
Yeah,
will say.
give me an example of what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, so right now, I think that there's a lot of healing that she's in the process of, and um, so aside from that, because that's more just personal, or just general life. But aside from that, when it comes to like relationships, she's told me that she feels maybe she's wow, I'm struggling with the word right now. Not monogamous,
Polyamorous.
yes, polyamorous,
Okay,
and
okay.
so that's something that she's um, considered
Exploring.
and
Yeah.
yes, and been open to, and I'm like I'm monogamous, and also been able to grow, so it's like okay, not judging, um, or even taking that personal. That is that is a reality, for her, and that's part of, what she wants to uh, gain more clarity on for herself.
Okay. Okay. So she's in the process of exploring non-monogamy, polyamory, non-monogamy, however you call it. And so you've been patient with her as she's on this journey. Um, do you feel like you have an internal expiration date on your patience in this regard? And are you okay with? I mean, I know you're not judging her. I totally get that, but
Mhm.
um, are you okay with being committed and monogamous with someone who is very honest and very transparent, but is also telling you, I don't know if monogamy is for me, and I'm exploring other options.
Yeah, I don't know if I have or at this time I don't feel the internal expiration date. Uh, I know that if she were to say, hey, I'm going to be exclusive with someone else, then I would respect that would be my boundary
Okay.
of
Yeah.
okay, then I'll let that be, and I will continue on my path. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Well, there's lots of different um, ways to do non-monogamy, right? So, um, have you thought about, like, okay, so if she does decide that this is the route that she wants to go, are you willing to stay in partnership with her? So let's say, for instance, you were her primary partner, but then she
Mhm.
also was free to date other people with whatever parameters you set up. I mean, I think the clarity and really having some boundaries is, I mean, it's always good to have that, but it's particularly when you're talking about, non-monogamous relationships, it's really good to have like an understanding of how this is going to practically work.
Yeah.
And so do you feel like, is there a version of that you're like, okay, I could do that. I could be happy in that. And it would be worth it to me to be with this person.
That's definitely something I've thought about as far as, if it is exclusive for us and then there, with parameters of being able to or her, dating or so. And that's something that I've kind of been like, I may be, okay with clear understanding, clear communication. Um, so
I feel like there's a butt
yeah,
coming.
it's like that's
This is
right
not what
now,
you would choose. There in the
right?
magic wand scenario, polyamory, non-monogamy, was not. You didn't mention that as something that you
Right.
wanted, right? Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Well, I can say, first of all, and for people who are listening, like, non-monogamy, ethical non-monogamy, polyamory, whatever you call it, this is definitely not my area of expertise. However, I do think, obviously, consenting adults get to choose whatever relationship um, format works for them. And however, I have seen a lot of people, and I've worked with people who have been in open relationships, non-monogamous relationships, and they've really done it because, sort of like you, they've met this person and they're like, I just really want to be with this person, and this is what it takes in order to be in a relationship with them. And there's the mixed results, right? Because
Mhm.
you know it's these things can sound okay in theory, but then in practice
Mhm.
and the reality of, like, wait, but this is my partner, and but now some of this intimacy that we share feels like it's been diluted, right? because
Mhm.
because they're they're open to seeing other people. um and so I say that to say, for just it's really hard because you have a person in your life who you really care about. So understandably, you really want things to work out with her. Um, but you started out by saying that self-esteem and kind of doing for others, and like letting kind of letting your value in the relationship be what you can do for other people has been a pattern in the past.
Hmm.
And I wonder if um you I mean, I don't want to say you are doing this. I want to just ask you. So I'm going to ask this question. Do you feel like any of those issues are coming up now, in terms of, not quite feeling good enough or worthy or anything like that?
I've thought about the element of people pleasing and making adjustments or changes for others when, it like you magic wand scenario, that wouldn't be something that I chose. Uh, so that's something that I've tossed about in my head. As far as self-esteem, I've I've really been able to grow from it. I've used it as like a measuring tool, and it's like I can hear about, even though like there's a friendship there, so it's not like an exclusive, relationship, but there's a friendship there, and being able to hear about it or aware that it is there, I still have this very like I feel okay. It doesn't make me feel less than or question my value or worth. Uh, I still show up for myself. I've been able to make sure that I'm pouring into myself, and I'm giving to me and not over giving. It's like so yeah.
Yeah.
It's been my measuring tool.
Okay. Okay. Um, so you said, so in terms of the other relationships that she's having, did I hear you correctly in saying that she talks to you about them?
Yes.
Okay. And when you say she talks to you about them, as in like they are going on, or in terms of she's giving you kind of details or maybe confiding in you about how the relationship is unfolding, and that sort of thing.
No, it's more of general communication about the person or yeah. It's more general.
Okay. So it doesn't feel like oversharing, and you don't feel like, okay, I'm being here for this person, so I'm listening to this, but maybe I don't want to hear all of this.
Yeah, no, it
It
hasn't
hasn't
been
been
like
that.
that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's go back to kind of what well, let me recap what I am hearing. So,
Yeah.
number one, you have more clarity on where you want this relationship to head, and you feel you're giving her the space to do her own exploration, but at the same time, you feel a sense of impatience because you really want her to kind of, I don't know if it's, I don't want to put words in your mouth because you did not say this. You did not say get it out of her system. You didn't say that. You're like, okay, go have fun with that, and I'll be here for when you come to your senses, right? Um, because what would happen, and how would that be for you if she were to say to you in another year, Tyler, I love you, but I definitely know that I don't believe, or I don't want an exclusive monogamous relationship. What do you say to that in a year?
As in, we've fast forwarded to next year, or
Yeah.
she's saying like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, it would be thanks for telling me, thanks for letting me know, and I would say, of course, we're still friends, and she's still someone that I, really care about and respect and love. And so I would I would move forward open to the monogamous relationship coming from another place. Um, and yeah, it's the communication and honesty really makes things much easier for me. So
Yeah.
to be told straightforward is like, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
rather than yeah.
Yeah.
So
So do you think, again, this is hypothetical, so, I know you can't know this for certain, but I think we can get a sense sometimes of, well, like I know that there are people that I could ask this question and they could say, if in a year, this is the relationship is not, if in a year by now, the relationship is not what I want it to be, I would feel upset. I feel disappointed. I would feel like maybe I wasted my time. I sold myself short, sort of all these
mhm,
sort of things. So I'm not trying to put this on you, but
mhm,
again, I'm here to kind of, there's a reason why you signed up to do this, right?
mhm,
And so I want to just make sure that we're just exploring kind of the possibilities, right, of how this relationship is actually affecting you. Because look, the thing is that sometimes in life we meet people and you have an amazing, amazing connection, and it is so real and it is so true and it is so beautiful. And it does not mean that that is your forever person,
mhm,
right? And
yeah,
sometimes, we can have that content, we can have that perspective, and we can still be grateful for it, and we can see its importance in our lives, and we can just be like, okay, that was beautiful and I get it, and I'm sad but that it didn't maybe turn out the way I wanted, but it's okay because I'm ready to go on and to have my next relationship be even better, right? Not that it's comparing, but just we're on this, we have the connection and we're on the same page, right, about the vision.
mhm,
But then there's also some people have the reaction of like, it's really difficult to move on because you just can't understand why the person didn't choose, why it didn't work out, right? And that can get into all sorts of story and all sorts of regret and all sorts of resentment and those sorts of things. So I just want to ask you, have you considered that? And are you at all, because I mean, look, you seem like incredibly like, I'm getting self-awareness. I'm getting I'm getting self-reflective. I'm getting like a lot of thoughtfulness, from you.
mhm,
So like you seem like a very conscious and aware person, but still romantic relationships, they can really trigger us in a lot of
mhm.
ways, right? You already know that.
Yes.
And we all have blind spots, and we all have just these little wounds that can just really get pricked and get triggered. And so um on that spectrum of like perspective, gratitude, ability to move on versus anger, resentment, bitterness, where do you see yourself on that spectrum if things do not go the way that you want them to in this relationship?
Yeah, that really caused me to reflect on the situationship that I was in prior to, and that was a lot of me trying to make it work and doing so much overgiving and um, I guess limiting myself or denying myself from a lot of things because I was so focused on trying to make this work.
Mm,
So, and I ended up, being deceived, being lied to, and being really hurt from that. But I was in that. I was locked in, doing whatever to try and make it work. And so with this, I feel that as long as I'm mindful of myself and not overgiving, I can allow it. If it's a year of, we're connecting and we're communicating, we hang out here or there. Uh, my family does these trips, every year, and the past two she's gone on. And so, even if it's like, another one of that, but then there's no more. Uh, as long as I haven't, I hate to say, violated myself, or allow, my boundaries to be crossed or been so forceful with trying to make things work, then I'll be okay. Because one thing I've learned for sure is that each relationship has been better, and each experience, uh, I've grown a lot and I've learned a lot, and yeah, it's just been better. So
Things are moving in the right direction.
yes, yes, and
Yes.
I can respect that. So if it's another year and that's it, then it's it. I know that it was needed for her and it was needed for me for us to be there at that time.
Amazing. Um, so you have so much understanding and empathy for her,
Mhm.
and it sounds like you're just you're a great partner. You're being incredibly supportive, and do you feel that she has the same level of understanding and empathy for you and for your desire to be exclusive and to be monogamous?
I believe that it's very respected and valued. I haven't really said, "Hey, I want to be exclusive and I want,
Now you tell me.
I, I
42
know I'm
minutes
like
in, you tell me. That's
it
kidding.
didn't even click that. Yeah, I haven't because I haven't forced. I don't want to force anything.
Okay, okay. I hear what
So
you're saying. Yep.
yeah.
Okay.
So even even with that being my feelings of, ooh, I want this. It's if you're starting to jump ahead, then you got to come back to the present. So what's
Mm,
what's in the present? What's right now? And so that's where my patience will. But I haven't because it hasn't felt like the time or the space to, yeah, like I'm not there. I'm not in that position of let's be exclusive right now.
mm. Well, you are there, it sounds to me like if she called you tonight, if you got off the phone with me and you got on the phone with her and she was like, Tyler, why what are we doing here? Like we just you I want to be with you and I know you want to be with me. Like let's just do this, you and me. Let's be together. Would you be like, "No, no, no, I'm not ready." or or something else? How would you respond to that?
Yeah, I would be like, all right, let's do
Okay. I mean, because in the
it.
magic wand scenario, the two of you were together, right?
Yeah.
Exclusively. So, um, okay. So I hear your very logical and rational reasons for not expressing to her your desire to be monogamous. But I also want to push back a bit, and I want to ask you what would be the downside of having that conversation with her.
Hmm. It would be, I feel that right now it would be an unwarranted push.
Okay, let me stop you for 1 second.
Mm.
Why is it a push? Because like okay, so I have, maybe I don't know how familiar you are with, because this is the first time we've ever spoken. But I don't know how familiar you are with me, with my kind of dating frameworks or anything, but Have you ever heard me talk about raw, ready, able, willing?
Hmm.
No?
No,
Okay. All right. Okay. So here is what I recommend. If you are looking for a committed relationship, right? That's something that you know that you want and that you're ready for. Not like, oh yeah, one day, but like no, like now. I'm actually ready for that now, which is what I'm hearing from you. Would you say that that's true? I don't want to mischaracterize.
it's it's true.
It's
It's true.
true. Okay.
It's true.
Okay. So raw is about understanding that you can feel a really great connection with someone. It does not mean you're on the same page. It does not mean that they are able to co-create the kind of relationship that you're seeking, etc. So ready, able, willing is three parts. And so the first is just establishing and communicating with the other person what you are ready for, not what you are ready for with them specifically. This is a little different because you already love her, you're already, connected, you already have a relationship.
Mhm.
But this applies even like say you were just meeting and you were just going on a first date or an early date, right? And it's it's what you're ready for is actually independent of the other person, right? So like it's not a matter of like if you and I go on a date and I ask you that question, I'm not saying, do you want to be with me? Like, will you be my man? It's just like, just literally in your life right now, what are you ready for in terms of a relationship? Right. And so
Mhm.
I know that it can feel like like you said, like a push or pressure, but I would actually encourage you to just to look at it as like, no, this is actually just a very basic understanding that it's actually important for us to have if we're going to proceed with this relationship, right? Because you don't want a situation where like, I mean, I'm asking you like a year from now, how would you feel if she was like, yeah, I actually decided like I really do want to just have non-monogamous relationships. Also, if she said that to you and you were like, oh yeah, but not me, like, oh, I don't do that, right? Like, no, it'll be like, wait,
Yeah.
what how many what why am I just hearing this now, right? so
Right.
so ready is really just, again, it's like I know it's hard when there's a person already who you have the relationship with, but just to kind of remove yourself from that and that story of its pressure, but just literally, what are you ready for? And then
Mhm.
able is, and so when somebody, if you guys are on the same page or ready for the same thing, that's the optimal situation. And then you move into able, and able is, that's what I'm hearing you talk about. It's like the ability to co-create the kind of relationship that you want, right? So the communication, the trust, the shared values, the shared
Mhm.
interests, just the friendship, right? Like that is um, the ability of somebody to not just be a receiver and a taker, but to actually to give to you. And it sounds, much more balanced, right? So those are the things that I'm hearing you really resonate with. So there is a great
Mhm.
ability there. And then the willingness is about, okay, and oh, just like ready, able is something that's really independent of the other person in the sense that you have to have those skills, right? You have to have the skill of communication, of vulnerability, of intimacy, of friendship, all of those things. And if somebody doesn't have it, then it's not that they can't develop it, but you just have to be honest about that, right? And where they are. And then the last is willing, and the willing, that's when it becomes personal. That's when it becomes like, oh, I met this person, like I met Tyler, and
Mhm.
I like Tyler, right? And I am willing to put in the effort to get to know Tyler, and you are willing to put in the effort to get to know her and to move the relationship forward. And so the safest way to really protect your heart and to move into relationships in a really informed way, we can't know everything. Life is going to surprise you, people are going to surprise you, relationships may surprise you, but it is a way of just having more assurance that, like, okay, these three elements are all in alignment, right? And so
Mhm.
we really have a good chance of this actually
Mhm.
working out and thriving over time, right? Versus if you have, just the willing, and so you're super into each other and you want to be together, and that's really great, but what's the ability to co-create that relationship that you want, right? What's the readiness for that kind of relationship? you know, that's when you're really
Yeah.
starting to gamble and be on shakier ground. Same thing with if you have somebody who you're like, oh, this person is really great in at creating, you know, relationship dynamics, but maybe they're not willing to put in the effort or they're not. So you're really looking for all three of those things to be in alignment.
Hmm.
So um, I say all this to say that um, I think that this is an opportunity for you to practice some vulnerability, which you're already
Hmm.
doing, but even more,
Yeah.
right? To have a conversation because I'm not hearing. I mean, you described yourself as being impatient, but I'm actually hearing a lot of patience, right? When it comes to this relationship, so it's not about pressure, it's not about a push, but it is about just you because you have a right to be heard and to be understood just like she has a right to be heard and understood, right? And so you hear you hear her desire to have this exploration and you understand her desire to have this exploration. And does she are you giving her the gift, right? And you giving yourself the gift of also sharing with her where you really are and what you're ready for. um and I'm not telling you what to do because that's not my job. But I am encouraging you to think about, like, you know, well, is there really something like, is there something that's holding me back from having this conversation with her that is actually rooted in fear?
Mhm.
Um, because that would be very normal, right? To have some fear, like, oh, but if I say this, and then she's like, oh, well, hold on, I know I don't want that. And then it's like, okay, well, now where do we go from here? Um,
Mhm.
so I know that it's complicated. There is risk involved. It's, again, especially this is why I tell people, I'm like, have these conversations early on because the longer you go without having them, the more pressure filled, the higher the stakes and all of those things. But that's okay because that's just how it goes sometimes. And this is the journey that you've been on. And, you know, you weren't looking for something. It sounds like you weren't ready when you first met, but you've gotten
Right.
more ready over the last couple of years, right?
Mhm.
And so think about that. You know, I would encourage you to have that conversation. And you have this gift of having this beautiful trust, friendship, ability to communicate with each other. And just know that you still deserve to communicate your needs, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so you've taken a big step because now you're with somebody who gives to you and doesn't just take. But also, this is calling you to a deeper level of vulnerability to
Mhm.
actually express your needs because otherwise, you know, if they do not get fulfilled, then, you know, maybe they could have if only if you had had that, you know, if you'd had that honest conversation. Does that make sense? Does that resonate?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So, I mean, I know we're like out of time because you didn't tell me until 10 minutes ago. Just kidding. um, but um, do you feel like that makes sense? That's something you might want to do, and that is this helpful to you? Do you feel like you've gotten something out of this conversation?
Yeah, the raw already, able and willing. That's it was a really simple way to put it, to just have that. And I love that it's, saying all that and discussing all that with yourself, figuring that out for yourself. And then this is, yeah, how you go forward and being able to meet someone or they meet you where, yeah, where each other are, and make a well informed or more informed decision. So I like that a lot, and it's very helpful.
Okay, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. And um, one other thing I just want to like honor and just like be really excited for you about is, what you said about how all of your relationships, you can see them getting better, right?
Mhm.
And that is a sign of so much growth and so much, maturity and evolution. And I'm just really I mean, I say I'm proud of you. I mean, I know we just met. But I am proud. I'm happy for you, right?
Thank
Because
you.
not every relationship is meant to last forever, but they all have meaning, right?
Mhm.
And sometimes we don't take the time to discover or to uncover the meaning of those relationships, and we just go right into the next one, and we do the same things over and over again, and there's not a lot of growth. And look, we've all listen. I've been stuck. Trust me, I know what it is to be stuck and not growing. In relationships and without, inside and outside of relationships. But I know that when you get to the place where you actually are really committed to your own growth, like that's such a beautiful place to be, and it's such a loving energy for yourself and to bring into relationships, to have that growth mindset and to know that you actually have an ability to co-create the kind of relationship you want, and to improve and to grow and all the things. So I know I'm repeating myself, but I just want to say that I do want to really just applaud you for that, and just I don't want you to take that for granted, right? Because it is a big deal. So be proud of yourself. um,
Thank you.
and just give some thought. And I know also, like, you and I, we're very single-minded when it comes to relationships, but
Mhm.
maybe it would be helpful to you if you are going to stay in this relationship where she's dating other people. I'm not telling you to go date other people just for the sake of it, but I I don't want you to close yourself off too much. If at any point it starts to feel unbalanced, or you start to feel
Mhm.
like, okay, wait, maybe I am actually giving too much in a different way, right?
Mhm.
But I think asking the question of, like, am I giving enough to myself to know whether I'm giving in this relationship in a healthy way is a really just a powerful reflection, for you. And I would encourage you to just kind of just check in with yourself. So I'm not saying, like, go, start dating a dozen people tomorrow, but just stay connected and know that, like, if that is something you decide to do, you have the right to do that. And
Mhm.
you also deserve to be with someone who is on the same page with you about the relationship, and you have the connection. And I hope that you know that that's possible for you.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
or yes, you hear
Yes.
me.
I do. I do.
Okay.
I know.
Okay. All right, amazing. Well, Tyler, I thank you so, so much for taking this time and so being so vulnerable and sharing so much with me and with the audience. And I just wish you all of the best. But let me know how it goes, okay?
Definitely will. I appreciate it. I had a good time.
Okay, good. I told you it
Thank
wasn't
you.
going to be too bad, right?
No, no, it wasn't bad. Not at
Okay.
all.
All right, amazing. All right.